Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I am your humble host, Mr. David Null, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers. And I greet you with the love and honor and the blessings from the Creator. Now, the title of my little video here is Does Old Age or Does Pharm Meds Make People Crazy? Make people, old folks, make the elderly go nuts? And being an elderly person now myself, I look at things much differently than I used to. But I remember my grandparents, and I remember, other people's parents, grandparents, fathers, mothers, etc., and all the medicines that they were on, and all the things that they went through in their older life. And I have to stop and think to myself, I've discussed that, I'm off a lot of the pharmaceutical medicines that, well, I used to be on. And I seem to be doing fairly well, all things considered. But one thing that I think I do have more control of is my thoughts. Whereas before, when I was on all the medications, I had a tendency to have panic attacks and in a lot of ways just act unnormal, if you will. Unnormal for myself, spouting off things or getting angry at times when it was inappropriate or maybe laughing out loud at something that, you know, other people just didn't quite seem as funny as I did. Now I still do I still do that, but laughing at something that may be inappropriate to other people or other people might not understand. Well, that's better than getting angry at shouting at somebody and cursing or whatever. Now, I was never really that bad, but there were times when I had anger issues. And since I've quit taking those medicines, I have to say that my body seems to be back to some kind of a normal for a 66-year-old. I was talking with a friend of mine yesterday, and I made mention. I said, "Yeah, for a 66-year-old, I guess I'm not too bad." And he goes, "Really? Are you that old?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, I never would have thought that you were 66." And I was like, "Well, thank you. I don't know how old you think I am. I feel like I'm 80 sometimes, but, that goes without saying." But there are a lot of people out there who are like, the elderly are becoming more psychotic. That's the word on the street. And that elderly folks, it's not just Alzheimer's, but they're becoming psychotic, and that their, families are having trouble trying to handle them and so forth. Well, with some of the families and things that I've seen in my lifetime growing up, it's like, well, Uncle Joe just isn't quite capable of taking care of himself. So the family does this person a favor and puts him in a nursing home. Then they wonder why Uncle Joe stays pissed all the time. Was he able to take care of himself fully? Maybe not. That's not the point. But they say, oh, well, Uncle Joe's gotten belligerent. Well, he's worked all his life, and he's comfortable in his own home. And like me, my house is a mess right now. Hey, Patrick, how are you? Good morning to you, at least here on the East Coast. And so, I think to myself, yeah, my house needs cleaned, and but it's my house. Now, that doesn't mean that I like living in my house with it not being as clean as I would like. But at the same point, it's like, but it's my house. Nobody ever comes to visit if I'm comfortable in my house. But if somebody were to come down here and say, well, we have to take you out of here, Hawkeye, you're getting old and senile, and we don't think because your house isn't as clean as it used to be, therefore you must be crazy. And if we try to take you away from your house, you're going to become belligerent. And, that's just not going to fly with us. Well, if somebody tried to take you away from your home, regardless of what kind of condition it's in, well, hang on. Who's to make the determination whether what you think is right for me is actually right for me? So Uncle Joe, they take Uncle Joe out of his home, sell his possessions, stick him in a nursing home, and wonder why he gets belligerent. Why he's not happy all the time. He's sullen. And within a couple of years, Uncle Joe's dead in the nursing home. And Uncle Joe may have had his issues, but he was still putzing around on his own and getting by. And I've seen too many people who are like, well, he can't really take care of himself, and the best thing for him is to put him in a nursing home, or her. And I think to myself, what if somebody did that shit to you? How would you feel? Well, wait a minute, but I'm not old. Well, drop the age part. People think that because you've lost certain abilities that you're an absolute moron and a dingbat, and well, because you don't function like you used to, then therefore you must be substandard and we got to stick you somewhere. Well, if somebody tries to take me out of my house and do that to me, I'm going to become a belligerent asshole. I'm gonna fight them tooth and nail. I'm going to show my ass. And those folks, because this has happened to me before in another instance, but they Baker acted me one time, and put me in the hospital. What the hell are you people doing? Well, somebody claimed that you might harm someone, and I was like, well, where's that dickhead at? I'll show him a thing or two. Well, see, there you are. You're belligerent, and they tied me to it. A bed in an emergency room and sent me to the Southwestern State Hospital for 3 days for observation and evaluation. Like 3 days is going to show these people who I really am. But to the point, it was like they took everything, the control of my own life, they took from me and said, no, law says we can do this because we don't think you're acting normal, Mr. Dave. So therefore, we're going to throw you in the mental hospital for 3 days, disrupt your life, and then send you a bill for $9,000. Now, this actually happened to me several years ago. But to the point of this about being elderly, there are a lot of people who are trying to make decisions for their elderly folks, whatever they may be. And do these people try to help the folks stay in their home? No. Most of the time, well, there are those who are overly anxious to take care of Uncle Joe or Aunt Mary or whatever. And then there are those who say, if they want to live by themselves, okay. And it's either one or the other. Seems like there's very little in between. Now, there are those families who say, okay, mom's getting old and she can move in with us and we're going to help take care of her. Well, that does go on. It doesn't go on as much as it used to, but it does go on. But at the same point, and I was a young person once, and I got I was middle-aged at one time. I was in my 50s at one time, and now I'm in oh my God, I'm pushing 70. Okay. Oh my God, I'm 66. I'm past that 65 age. Oh crap. But, yeah, I've got my bad days, but does that mean that because I've got a few bad days that I should be ripped out of my home, that I should be taken out of my lifestyle, even if it doesn't agree with you? Okay, well, you're nuts because we're trying to look after you and we want you to, and we think this is best for you. And then you put folks in a nursing home, fill them more full of drugs because now they're pissed off. They're agitated because they're living in this group setting. They want to be back home. They want to go out in the yard. Even if it's just for a little bit, they want some type of their own life back. And then there are the younger folks. Well, Granny's just not herself. Well, no, you keep trying to tell your grandma that she's nuts. Just because she's forgotten something doesn't mean that she's got Alzheimer's disease and that she's fixing to die. No, the thing is that maybe she's over medicated, which happened to me. And I've seen other people who are over medicated, and I've had conversations about this, and I keep telling folks, be careful. The more of those drugs you take, the more symptoms you're going to have, and they're going to pour more drugs on you. Sure enough, that's exactly what happens in real life. And some older folks are starting to pick it up, and they're going, wait a minute, I might be old, but somehow I've turned feeble. I mean, I joke around about this, but it's serious. A few years ago, when I went to the doctor, I told her, I said, I went outside and I had a clothesline hanging, and I have it, the more weights on it, it droops. So as I take things off, things get higher. Well, there's a pair of socks, and I couldn't quite reach them. And I tried to jump up to get them, which was only like about that far. And I realized I had forgotten how to jump. And I was telling my doctor this, and I said, this is just nuts. How does a person forget how to jump? I mean, even just a little bit. And so this started me on this, why can't I jump? So guess what? I can jump again. Not very far, but that's not the point. Whatever had become disconnected in my brain had told my body that my legs forgot how to push off. I mean, it was like, what? But there are so many people, though, who want to automatically say, well, because you're a certain age, then you must be elderly, and then you must be going crazy. Because you've really got some strange ideas there, Hawkeye. And you're talking, in woo-woo terms, and you're talking all this other kind of stuff. Are we really sure that you're sane? Are you having issues there that maybe we should, take you to the hospital and tie you to another bed and shove more drugs in you that you don't want because we think it's best for you? Well, I got to say this. Being elderly ain't got shit to do with this. All right. That's just right off the bat. I know elderly folk. Yes, they've lost a lot of their abilities, but they're not stupid. They may have lost some of their mobility, but it doesn't mean that they're dead. They just need a little bit of coaxing, a little bit of camaraderie once in a while, other than just old people. I remember my granny, and we'd go and say, Granny, come on, let's go out. Show me your flowers. Well, okay, I'm a little tired, but okay, let's go out in the yard. And 10 minutes later, and hanging around grandma and her showing off her flowers, she felt better. It just works that way because the interaction of people. So, there folks are so easily to be able to judge the elderly. And I've seen it over the years, and being the son and grandson and watching grandmothers and grandfathers pass away and mothers and fathers pass away and aunts and uncles, after a while, it's just like everybody tries to say, well, what's best for your dad or what's best for your Uncle Joe or what's best. Well, hang on just a second here. Nobody, and I'm referring to the incidents that I've been in, nobody went and talked to Uncle Joe about it and asked him what he felt. They assumed. Now, my condition is totally different. Ain't nobody trying to throw me anywhere. I'm in the second category. They just forget about me, which is okay, because if I can't live up to their standards, then, well, old Hawkeye out there, he's a little crazy now. He talks that woo-woo stuff, and, I don't know if I should go visit him or not. He talks woo-woo. Yeah, okay. I'm still a human being. I'm still a person. I'm still on this earth. I still have other things to talk about other than woo-woo, but because I talk about woo-woo, nobody wants to get involved. That's okay. That's my own situation. But other people, it's just that because they don't have anything to look forward to tomorrow, they reflect on the past. And old people have a whole lot more past than they seem to have a future for. So with elderly folks, nobody gives them a future. Well, you're elderly and, you only got a few more years, so just take it easy. What? So people enable the elderly to become more elderly. Oh, just sit there, and it's like, maybe it's like if Uncle Joe's sitting in a chair and says, well, my back's hurting, get me a drink. Maybe you should say, come on, Uncle Joe, I'll help you get up and you go get your own drink. Because in my case, if I don't have somebody helping me, I got to do things on my own, which pushes me to try to stay active. So there are other things to do. But the first thing people do is assume, well, you're elderly. Therefore, that's what's wrong with you. And I submit, no, it ain't. I submit that it has a lot to do. Yes, elderly people have certain things that happen, but I will bet you that if you look at the elderly person who's starting to go a little dingbat, check their medicines. I know when I quit taking mine, I seem to gain a couple of years, and I'm still working on getting younger. I have different plans. I'm looking to my own future. I've said at one time, man, I'll be happy if I could make it to 80. Well, I'm 66 and 80 is looking pretty close right now. And I'm like, well, piss on this. Why can't I live to 100? Why not? If I set my mind to it and I start doing exercising more than I am at the present, and I start getting my body back into shape, which I contend I haven't given up, and so it's like, but that's what my purpose is. I'm looking forward to tomorrow, then the next day and the next day, where other people are like, well, I don't know. I'm getting pretty old here, and what's in the future for me? I'm old. What can I do? How am I? Well, I might as well just give up. And then people around me go, oh, look, Aunt Mary's really tired. Oh, Uncle Joe, they're getting old. And so in so many ways, they encourage old people to be elderly. They encourage old people to, well, you're getting close to that end of yours. And it's like, who says I'm at the end of whatever? It should be my choice, damn it, not yours. And for you to think that just because I'm elderly and I speak about things that are woo woo or kind of weird, maybe it's because of the experiences I've had. And it's the combination of my 66 years and the things that I have actually seen. Oh, but no, you're elderly and you're going batshit crazy, and we just need to keep an eye on you. It isn't about age, not always. Alzheimer's has been fixed with people because they've got the wrong acidity in their system. They've had too much aluminum, they've had too much other things. And when you start taking away some of the medicines that they're on and start treating them naturally with things and getting their blood sugar down, getting, I don't mean cholesterol and all that crap, but, just keeping blood sugar at a nominal point, keeping the acidity of the person in a higher level and more, a higher pH than what most folks are. And elderly people, because they don't move around as much as younger folks, are more prone to things. That part is true. But I grew up in Florida where all the old people used to move to, I don't know if they still do anymore, but to the point where there was 80 and 90-year-olds playing softball and running as fast as I could. Now, I'm sure that there are still folks like that. And in so many words, that's what I intend to be. I'm not laying down and I've already had my death time, I'm hoping that and I continue to pray every day that I'm on the other side of that. And yeah, am I going to die? Am I past the midpoint, as it were, to 120 years if we could live that long? Well, sure. But I'm not, and I'm guilty of this, you see. So I'm speaking in terms of this in that a few years ago, I was like, man, shit, I ain't got much to look forward to. Next 10 or 15 years, what the hell can I do? My body's aging, things are starting to deteriorate, but I was on a lot of medication back then. And it changed my mind. And I was like, well, I'm just sort of reticent. I'm just going to, okay, I'm getting old. So therefore I only have a few years left and I'm going to die. Bullshit. Live until you die. That's my motto now. Give up? Are you serious? What? Even if I don't ever go on another trip to the mountains, the fact that I can still walk around and be with nature and do a live stream video and hang out with folks, and it's like, why not? That's something to look forward to. I don't really have a topic or anything like that, but Spirit's going to give me something to chit chat about. And one of them, like today, I didn't really have a topic, but I'm seeing in the headlines in certain places, that, oh, us old people. Well, there's some old people in office, for example, that need to get the hell out of there. Some of them people are senile. But They don't talk about them folks. Like Joe Biden is going to be the next president. Are you serious? What? That pedophile Joe Biden, and he's older than me. And you want Hillary Clinton, who's obviously got issues. Oh wait, I'm younger than she is, so that makes me qualified to run for president. I know as much as she does about certain things, probably more in others. So because she's older than me, then I must be qualified then to run for president, along with Joe Biden. Oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Not a bit. I'm being sarcastic as hell. But to the point, though, it isn't about being elderly, speaking as an elderly person now. It is about your intentions. I intend to live a lot longer than most other people. In fact, my relatives, I've already lived longer than actually two of my grandparents. So it's like, all right. Now, my granny, she lived into her 70s. My pops, he lived about 71 or 2. And this is actually, today is an anniversary of when we buried him in 2000. Just an aside note. But so Pops has been gone for 18 years now, officially. And in reflecting back on his life, there was a certain point where I saw where my Pops gave up. But he had 8, 9 bottles of different meds. And the more he took the meds, the worse his condition got. And he went from walking the golf course once a day to riding in his golf cart, which is fine. When you're 70, you should have the ability to ride in a golf cart. But what kept him alive and well was the fact that he was walking 18 holes every day. But as soon as he started riding, and as soon as they increased all of his meds, in 2 years' time, Pops was dead. Heart condition, this condition, that condition, and it was like we all watched him just go downhill. And they blamed it on being elderly. And it's like, but there are other people who are 72 years old. They don't fall apart like that. So, but, my Pops, he'd sit down and eat a pound of cracklings. And I mean, that's just pure lard and grease. Talk about eating bacon. This was 10 times worse. But it was who he was, and that's what he enjoyed. And even though I enjoy some things in my elderly life, I realize some of that shit's going to kill me. And I have to have enough sense to go, maybe I should not eat bacon all the time. Maybe I shouldn't have all these greasy things. Maybe, and if nothing else, it will make my life easier, whether it extends my life or not. All that crap just makes you, weights you down and all this other stuff. But again, I go back to the elderly part. Yeah, Pop was elderly, but there was a certain point where he just sort of realized that I really don't have many more years to go. What the hell? I'm just going to eat like I want to eat. And he gained 50 pounds, and I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to blah, 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 blah. And he was dead. Now, maybe that was a suicide through diet. Not sure. But other people that I've watched and get to a certain point now, my grandmother, she got cancer and that took her out. But she was in her 70s when that happened. So, and I've got friends of mine now who have cancer or are younger than me. Some folks have passed away. And it's like, so when I look around, it's like my group is in this group of, oh crap, some of us are going to start dropping like flies. And there are folks that I know who are younger than me who are, cancer and they're horrible operations. A few have passed away. A few are on their deathbeds, literally. And I think to myself, well, what makes one person more than another? And I have this. Regardless of being elderly, we all need to have something to look forward to. Now, my first wife has a heart problem. I went and saw her several years ago. She lives in Ohio. They're going to, very soon, they're trying to work out the deal. She's supposed to have some more heart surgery done. And we're all living down here in the South or way up in the Northeast. And she doesn't really have anyone but a brother and a sister there. And so at her age, I think about 63, she's several years younger than me. But to the point, though, we've had conversations on the phone, and it's like, what do you have to look forward to? Well, I don't know. I'm getting old and I got a heart condition. I'm like, yes, so? Well, because I got a heart condition, the doctors say, and I'm on another medicine and I can't get around. And well, I know that. But so already in her mind, she's got this, I'm not going to make it much longer because my heart is bad. And and it brings on the stress and it continues on. So I try to have conversations with folks like this. I mean, she was my first wife. Okay. But to the point, though, and looking at this, it's almost like they resign themselves. Well, I'm in my 60s now, so death is inevitable. Other people my age are dying around us, friends and relatives. And, well, I guess I'm just going to go with them, and it's like, sorry, but I can't go there. Elderly ain't got nothing to do with it. I choose to think otherwise. I choose to think, damn it, man, I'm going to at least think 45. I want 20 years back. And I don't mean like, no, but I realize that if I start walking again, and now that the weather's cool, I can ride my bicycle. And now that other things is like, okay, the weather's better for me now, and I can exercise more. That's great. It's cold in the house. And if I want to build a fire, got to go collect firewood. That keeps me busy. But my biggest thing is, for me at least, and I've noticed this in some other elderly folk, is that I choose to look forward to life having more life in it, not looking forward to life having death at the end. Well, I know that death is at the end of this, but why should I invite it? And I used to do this, so I can speak on this term and be fully cognizant of what I know other older folks to feel. Because when I had my issue and was stuck in a wheelchair, I said, well, this is it for me. I'm never going to make it to 66. And that was about 4 years ago. Here I am. Didn't think I was going to make it. Surprise. Well, now it's like for the last year or two, especially this last year, regardless of what the universe is, I still choose to live. And even if my body dies, I'm still choosing to live. So there are so many other realizations in this. But does it have anything to do with being elderly? And my point is no. And as a young person, I was all, well, them old people, they do that. Well, old people, that. Now, as an old people, I look at my life and I'm like, damn, how, being old, there is something that happens in your brain, and the things that used to really matter a lot are like, what the hell? Life's too short to worry about that. Which is an interesting point of view. But to the point of all of this, though, I have rephrased, reformulated my thought process about elderly and what does elderly mean? And elderly is a frame of mind. And the frame of mind is everything. I mean, Stan Lee just recently passed away. He was in 92, and he was active. I mean, he always did a cameo in one of his Marvel movies. I was watching one of his animated shows the other day. And even in the animation, Stan Lee had put himself in as one of the characters in his comic books. And I thought to myself, that's just great. But he made it to 92 and was active and writing and doing films and stuff. And it's like, I'm only 66, 76, 86, 96. Well, that's 25 more years. Well, crap. If I use what talents and things that I have and can live to 92, well, what else could I accomplish in my life in the next 20 or 30 years if I choose to? So being elderly has nothing to do with it. But taking pharmaceutical medicines absolutely does. Because everybody in my age group is taking something pharmaceutical. Now, I'm down to a couple of Benadryl every day because of my sinus issues. And you can relate, Melanie. I'm going to put my glasses on here in a minute and read your comments. But basically to just, and I used to be one of these people. I'm, younger. I was like, well, old people, blah, blah, blah. Now that I'm, quote, an old person, I'm like, hang on, guys, wait a minute. There's a lot more to this. Okay. But in the past, and they still try to do it. But well, now that you're old, you have to take this blood pressure medicine. Now you got to take this for your cholesterol. Now you have, and that's what's killing old people. When I quit taking all that shit, my body started getting better. So I got a little bit of high blood pressure. So my cholesterol's different. I'm 66. So I'm going to go exercise and I'm going to change my lifestyle versus taking a pill to take care of it. That's the difference. I choose to look forward to tomorrow. I'm retired, so I don't really have anything planned. That's not it. I'm looking forward to tomorrow because I don't know what I'm going to do. Ooh, I could work in the yard. Maybe my battery will be charged back up and I can go into town. Maybe if it's nice, I can go boating. I mean, what do I feel like doing? But the thing is, I'm looking forward to tomorrow. And many people don't. They get to this age and they look around themselves and go, well, there's only the end of life for me to look forward to. Sorry, I choose to look at it differently. The end of my life was there when I was born. And I've been looking at the end of my life for the last 66 years. I choose, it's there in the future, but I choose not to dwell on it. I choose to say, hang on, I'm going to live every single day, not like it's my last, but like I've got a plan for tomorrow. And if I die tomorrow, fine. That wasn't necessarily in my plan, but I'm going to be as spiritually cleansed and whatever as I possibly can. I'm going to try to continue to be the best human being I can possibly be. Those are my goals. And so if I get run over by a helicopter tomorrow, or, a meteor lands on my head, or aliens come and take me off into space, whatever happens tomorrow, I'm looking forward to it. Because, oh my God, what an adventure. And for people to sit around and go, well, I don't have anything to look forward to. Well, that's your own damn fault. No offense. But there are people younger than me in their 60s. Well, I just don't know. And I'm like, get out of this. No wonder you're cranky. No wonder you're on all these pills. You've given up. Well, I just don't know. I don't know either. That's my point. But I'm looking forward to it nonetheless. Okay, I'm crazy and I got woo-woo in my head. And I'm looking at spiritualism and things in a totally different way. As I did that video last night about the medicine cards and the spirituality. All of the cards that I pulled up said exactly that I'm doing this because I've been out there. I've walked in the shadow world, which is true. And now I'm back to try to teach other folks about this. Well, in reflecting on what the card said last night and what I'm having this conversation about elderly, I realized that as soon as I made the choice to stop living to die, because it's already there, it's already in the books. I cannot live in this meat body forever, but spiritually and mentally I can. And so, yeah, a few years back, I'm sitting in a wheelchair, I'm drooling, I'm like, is this it? And Spirit said, only if you let it. So I'm not letting this shit happen. Now, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to go out and play softball for a team. That's not my point. My point is I choose not to give up. I choose to look forward to tomorrow, regardless of what it might bring. If it brings a storm and a hurricane comes and kills me and tears my house down, then so be it. But I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to look forward to the adventure. Every single day is a new adventure. And this not for us old folks. It should be for everyone. Now, I used to have this, and I still do, but it was my saying, and it was my excuse to get high, and it was that every day's a holiday and every day's a celebration. Well, I look at it the same way without the drugs. and that every day is a holiday, because now that I'm retired, it's a holiday. I don't have to be any particular place tomorrow. But at the same time, every day is an adventure. And because it's a holiday for me, now that I've lived this long, I have the choice to do what I want to tomorrow, barring physical ailments. It's my choice, though. And I choose to look at tomorrow as an adventure. And the more I look at life as the adventure that may end up in this meat sack being dead, I choose not to look at, well, it's the end of my life. 40 years ago could have been the end of my life. I had a nephew that died at the age of 32, got the flu, and 4 days later was dead. Had nothing to do with being elderly, had nothing to do with the even physical. But he didn't plan, or neither did his wife or his kids, plan on him getting the flu and being and going in the hospital and being dead in less than a week, less than 5 days. That damn sure wasn't planned on, and no one expected it. Now, there are folks that expect, well, if Dave, turns up dead, at least he's old, and there's an excuse to it. But, so my nephew who passed away and so unexpectedly, he lived every day. He was turning his life around from being a drug addict. He had a baby and it turned everything around, and then God took him out. And I still wonder, here's this young man that really had a crappy childhood because his dad's a drug addict and so forth. And he got into it early and just went into jail, but he got out and he straightened himself out and he got married and he had a child and he had a steady job, and then he got sick and died. Now, was my nephew living to die? No, he was living to live, and death caught up with him. But the thing is that it can happen to any of us. But I'm not going to dwell on it. And I'm damn sure not going to use being elderly as a freaking excuse for it. Because that's what they're trying to make us old people. Well, now you're old and you're in your golden years. And there's all this rhetoric. And I think about it and I go, I listened to it. Oh, my grandmother, and she was a member AARP, which is a ripoff, by the way. But and my aunt AARP, and now I'm AARP, and these people, what are they doing for us old folks? Give us discounts. That's all they're doing for us. Are they helping us to get our Social Security straightened out? No. Is AARP really for the elderly? Well, yeah, we can get a discount or something. So, but what's that? Is that helping us? No. Are they really standing up for our rights? No. AARP is a sham, in my opinion. But they want us to be elderly. They want us to go slower. And I'm saying we need to speed our ass up. We need to drink another pot of coffee, and we need to get our ass out there and run around in circles like we were little kids and get our energy levels back up. If we're going to have, if being elderly means going back through our having a second childhood, I'm ready. Where's the Play-Doh and the crayons? I'm ready. But for folks to just pick on folks, and and I hadn't realized until I started getting elderly that folks really pick on the elderly. When I was 62 and I'm out trying to find a job, well, you're a little too old for the job, mister. No. Yeah, but I got 50 years of freaking experience. Yeah, but you're too old. And, what a shame. What a shame. Okay, I get $1,000 a month. Woo, I'm really rich in my old age. But you know what? To heck with it all. It's what I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I don't know what it's going to bring. Still don't. It's up to me. I can wake up, I can go out and do something, or I can sit here and watch TV all day. It's my choice. But I'm still looking forward to it. That's the difference. And elderly folks, quite frankly, we're staring at death a lot closer than most folks would like to think. But I use my nephew as the example again. At 32, he had no idea death was staring him down. So it isn't about age. We don't know what's going to get us and when. So why not just every day is a holiday? Every, excuse me, the old expression, today is the first day of the rest of my life. Well, that's a little overdone, but to the point though, people, when you get to be my age, you look around and go, I'm never going to be an Olympic swimmer. I'm never going to be a NASCAR driver. I'm never going to be but my suggestion is for people to go, okay, so you're not going to be on Dancing with the Stars. Okay, you're not going to be an Olympic swimmer. Okay, you're not going to the moon on a NASA rocket. Okay, so pick something else. There's a lot of other stuff that you can do. Well, I don't know. And that's the attitude. Now, I speak from this because, I get around people my age. Like, well, I don't know. And I said, well, what are you looking forward to? Come on, I got a canoe and come on, let's go camping. I got all the camping equipment for a crap load of people. Come on, let's go. Well, I don't know. And it's like, now, I'm not supposed to go by myself with a lot of these things. That's not the point, though. But it's like trying to get these other folks to like, come on, old people, get off your ass. Let's go do something fun. Well, I don't know. Well, my back hurts. Well, so does mine. I want to get out of here because my back hurts and I need some exercise. Oh, well, I don't know. I'm getting elderly. Oh, shit. Here we go again. They're already brainwashed. Now, to the point, at 66, you look at your life and go, I don't know how many more days are in front of me. It doesn't matter. Now, but to most folks, it does. So we just need to be more open to old people. And, we're going to, Uncle Joe, we're going to snatch him out and put him in a nursing home, or we should sell his house and move him closer to the city. I mean, people have been trying to get me to sell my acreage out here and move to town. I would puke, die, and be dead. It would kill me. Just leave me here on my property in my own little world. But you try to make me move at this age and to give up my life's work of building this place and living here, and then you want, because you think it's good for me? That's the change we need to make. It may not be good for some people, and maybe the old man or the old lady dies in their house. Maybe something happened to it, but you know what? They're happy where they're at. To move them away from where they're at is a sin in my book. Now, I don't mean to let an Alzheimer patient loose in the woods, but there's sometimes there are people who are trying to intervene when they got no dead burn business messing up with it. And people my age are having the issue. Well, life's getting shorter for me. Well, if you look at it in the fact that we never die, our spirit never dies. I'm going to push this body as far as it'll go for as long as it'll go. Why not? What the hell? I mean, I'm not going to go mountain climbing, but I can at least ride my bike to the edge of a cliff or something, Use it or lose it. Absolutely, Patrick. And I realized that after I got stuck in a wheelchair, I damn near lost it. I mean, my issue right now is because my physical condition was so bad, it's hard to get back up out of it. My muscles have atrophied in ways. I don't have the stamina that I did. An hour outside is like a freaking week now. And it's like, but my head's clear. Now I just got to get my body to catch back up. But the thing is that I'm not giving up. Every 7 years, every single cell in our bodies is supposed to regenerate. I don't know what year I'm on. I guess if I counted 7 through 9, 6, divide 66 by 7, I guess. But to the point, though, somewhere in there, my body's regenerating. And if I go along with it and say, okay, body, let's regenerate. All right, body, let's redo these things. Okay, kidneys, let's go. I used to have kidney problems. I don't have them anymore. There are things that I changed. I used to have this, that, and the other thing. Okay, I still got a back issue. I still got neck issues. They rearranged my freaking spine. That's a toughie to get over. But the thing is that I can choose whether or not I want to be here tomorrow. And I do. I don't know what's going to happen. Doesn't matter. But I'm looking forward to it. And people my age should look forward to tomorrow, regardless of what it's going to bring for us. And if we keep a positive attitude in our hearts and in our minds, then whatever happens will be positive. And even if it means we're going to cross over to the other side, we'll still be in a positive mode, which is a good medicine death. And that's all I really want. At this age, I don't want to go out in a blaze of glory or anything like that, but I do want to fulfill my potential. And if I'm still walking and talking, then why should I just sit down and give up? No, don't want to do that. I choose to look at tomorrow as an adventure. How to get through it, how to struggle through it, how to do whatever it is that tomorrow is going to bring. Hey, Quartz, hi, how are you? So, but I've been looking at the headlines and news articles, magazine articles and things. Oh, the elderly are this, and oh, the elderly are that. And if you're, quote, elderly, then you're automatically senile. You're automatically, stupid. You're automatically old fashioned. Well, some of this stuff, old fashioned, I think we should bring back. But, hey, there are a lot of folks my age that, have cell phones and do the computer thing. I mean, my aunt learned how to use the computer at the age of 70. So, and she's in her 80s now, coming up with a birthday in a couple of days. Actually, in 2 days. But to the point, though, she didn't give up. She didn't say, well, my God, I'm 65. I can't learn the computer. No, she said, hey, I'm going to go take a class with other folks my age, and we're all going to learn how to use the computer together. So those folks who have a better attitude in their elderly years have a much better chance of making their elderly years count. My aunt, who's about 84 now, I think, I'd never thought the both of us I would be alive and she would be alive and that we'd both be on Social Security together. I mean, go figure. But with that said, though, it's like, and I use my aunt as an example because even though her sister died at a very early age and other family members, she's one of the last ones in her group, and she still hasn't given up. Now she's slowed way down, but she's 84. She's had a few more years on her, but she still hasn't given up. She still looks forward to tomorrow. So that's my point. And unless you're eaten up with a disease or something like that, where maybe tomorrow is your last day, you can still look at it as an adventure. There are lots of things that we can do to change our thought pattern. But the biggest thing is that for younger folks, even older folks too, but for folks the elderly, and all of a sudden when they say the word elderly, that throws us in a group that we're all stupid, senile. So I forget things. I forgot things when I was 35, but now that I'm elderly, whoops, it's Alzheimer's. Ooh, it's something else. Ooh, it's the old age. No, damn it, I just forgot. So with that said, anyway, I think I've made my point on this, but, one of the things is, the elderly, and there's all, as soon as you say the word elderly, it's like, elderly, it's a disease, the elderly, they smell funny. Yeah, well, sometimes I leak a little bit. My bowels aren't and okay, maybe there's a slight bit of pee-pee smell, but I washed before I left home. I can't help it. I'm elderly. Okay, all right. Okay. I guess in my craziness and in my woo-woo and all the stuff that I like to chit-chat about, I just have a totally different opinion of this. Now, 5 years ago, being in a wheelchair, I was looking at death and I was just like, okay. Raised my hands up and said, okay, take me. And they said, you're not done yet. And here I sit. Some might say, well, maybe you should have died. You'd have stayed out all this woo-woo. wouldn't have stirred up so much agitation amongst folks by what you talk about, Hawkeye. And I'm like, yeah, but that's why I'm here. I'm an instigator. I'm going to instigate a thought process in your brain. If maybe I'll just make you giggle about some dumb shit during the day or something. Who knows? But With that said, though, I was looking for my glasses here. Let me read. Quartz, Melanie, Patrick. Good morning. Good morning. Moving my body, not my residence. Absolutely. Hey, Melanie. Now the planets are really old. Yeah. And with you and Wayne and the planets. Oh, Wayne did something. You're talking about Wayne, our Wayne Steiger? There was an item on UK TV showing an upset wife visiting her own husband in a care home after 70 years of marriage. It was very upsetting to watch. Yep. I'm an older model and look forward to every day. And thanks to both you, David and Patrick, for the spirit. Melanie, you're absolutely welcome. In the UK, when you reach 100, you get a birthday card from the current king or queen. I can't wait to get mine so I can send it back and tell them to put it where the sun don't shine. Bravo. Bravo. Patrick, that was great. I keep stepping through doorways, feeling better and better. You know, that's sort of like me, Melanie, in that respect. It's like, now a few years ago, I quite frankly, my hands up and said, that's it. But now walking through the doors is like, well, it's a whole nother day. I mean, even in the same day, I walk outside at certain times of the day or night. And every time I walk outside, it's like a whole new adventure. And it's like, it's the same house, it's the same place, but I walk outside. Oh, I can still walk. Oh, I still have balance. Oh, I don't have to use a walker anymore. Ooh, and I used to have to use a cane everywhere I went just a few years ago. And it's like, wow, so now the planets are really old. Yes, that puts it into a great perspective, says Patrick and Melanie. Absolutely. And one of the things is that, and they're much older than they really understand or want to give it credit to. Hey, Quartz, you just got here, I know. And I was I think about the pharmacy medications that my fellow elderly people are on. And I just have to say, every time someone takes another medicine, they have another symptom of something show up. And I talk to them and I go, look, you know me, I've quit taking them and I don't have the shakes anymore. My arthritis is getting better. So there are certain things that are getting better about my condition, even though I'm getting more elderly. And I warn them, I go, look, so your blood pressure's high. Do you think you should change up your meds and double the amount that you're taking? Well, the doctor says, yeah, but the doctor's selling pills. And if you get better and don't come back, that doctor doesn't get any more of your money. But if you take these pills on a monthly basis, then you have to come back and you keep them in their new car. And glad you came back up then, Dave. Absolutely, I did, Patrick. I mean, I was sitting here in the house and a doorway open and there were hands reaching out saying, if you want, come on. And I was like, well, you're going to have to come get me because I can't get up to walk to the kitchen. But to the point, it wasn't my time to go. But I damn sure was like, and I just realized that even though my situation at that time was really nasty, it was still up to me whether or not I chose to walk through that portal and leave this planet. And something said, no. Well, they didn't. It wasn't just something. It was the angels going, you're not done yet, stupid. Now stay here. It's going to be a little rough, but you got to stick it out. There's a lesson in this. And there was. But to the point, though, so I can speak on this. Why have I been drugged through the mud and hit so hard? Because I was in a hole looking up going, well, I can't get any closer to death than this. There's must be a way out of this, at least temporarily. And I chose to stand up and crawl out of that damn grave and walk upon the earth again. And yes, it's in your head. Of course, my ailments. I'm still overcoming those ailments with a bad back and so forth. But I fell 2 stories across the crossbar on my back and and that bent the wrong way. That's a really nasty accident to try to just cure for any reason whatsoever. But so my back issue is a really serious one. But I still get around, not like I want to, but I'm not dead yet, and I'm still exercising. I get up every day and I'm doing knee bends, and I sit here in the chair and I do my exercises, even though my back hurts and I might not be able to stand up for long. I'm still going to do something. I'm still going to use my mind. I'm going to do a video. I'm going to do research. I'm going to do something. I'm going to look forward to whatever it is that today brings. And tomorrow, I ain't got a clue, but I'm looking forward to it anyway. And so for all of you, it's not my place to ask how old you are, but you all seem to be fitting into this category pretty well. So with that said, all us old folk, us elderly people, as long as we keep it, man, there's a lot of stuff flying through the air. Did y'all just see that? There's nothing here. There are no little bugs flying around. Wow, been a lot of woo woo activity here around the house, but in other places too. Um, but yeah, we got to keep our thoughts clear. Even if tomorrow is the end of our life, it's the end of this meat bag life. It's not the end of our life. And so it's even more important to me now in my elderly years because I realize, well, I may not have as many, if I lived another 60 years, holy crap, that would be something. But I realize, okay, so I may be past the halfway point, but it doesn't mean that I can't push it. Why not? What else have I got to do? Why give up? you know. And if nothing else, then I'm going to prepare my soul and the rest of my energy, and then anybody else that I can kind of drag along with this idea. In that, okay, so you may not be an Olympic swimmer, but maybe you're going to be a great angel. Maybe there's something just on the other side that this this walk, this great walk of life and the great mystery. Maybe it's this earth walk that we're on that teaches us how to be better beings on the other side. It's all it. Okay, is it a test? Now, some people will say, "Well, it's the Matrix," and I want to kind of. It is a matrix in that it's complicated and that everything is connected. But there are some folks who are thinking that it's a computer game, and I think I don't buy that. Is it a matrix? Are we all part of this thing? And yes. Can we kind of bend things around? But yes, this ain't a computer game. It's like a computer game, but it's not a computer game. Well, but there are outside forces, and okay, if you want to really think about that, but then you're thinking in an AI term, and you're thinking that if you're in the matrix, then when the program goes off, you're dead. Well, but there more in the matrix? Well, if the matrix is over or the matrix is fixed, or then what? Where do we still exist when this body goes? Are we still part of the matrix? Now, I would rather use just the universe or the Great Mandela, because folks, when the movie first came out and the word matrix was first used, it made sense. Now, after all these years and looking at the word matrix, people have started bringing in AI and this and that and kind of muddied up the waters there and threw in flat earth to really mix things up good. And it's like, okay, but let's just think about this as the great spider web of the universe, if you will, and not necessarily that there are spiders, all there are, but that they keep the web intact. They keep the web of the universe together. Not that they're trying to catch our souls, but they keep all of these planets and everything together in this great spider web, the great Mandela, the spokes of the wheel. And so, um, if we understand that even when we leave this life, if we're absolutely positively sure, then when we walk out of this meat bag, we're going to have a good medicine death, a good medicine change. We're going to walk right over to the other side. We're going to retain these memories. We might not need to be reincarnated on this hellhole. Well, it's only a hellhole because of the other human beings, but you know, I want to go back to the universe. I want to go see another star. I want to go to another planet. I want to fly in a spacecraft. If I limit my thoughts and my actions, then when this meat bag dies, I might just sit here on this planet and spook somebody for the rest of eternity. I, I'd rather not, I'd rather haunt you now and get it over with. But to the point, it's like, no, I when I leave this meat bag, I want to go become an angel. I want to go drive one of those little space jobbies that I keep dreaming, having dreams that I've been in. No, I want to go, I want to go visit, Alpha Centauri. I want to go to the Pleiades system and check out all what's there. I want to go see the Horsehead Nebula up close, No, this ain't the end. It's the end of this walk. That's all. But it's not the end of our life. It's the end of our earth walk. And so that's one of the things in reading those cards yesterday, the terminology of earth walk kept coming up. And I'm like, yes, the path on this earth, and yes, sir, but the earth walk. Very interesting phraseology in that respect, in that our earth walk is just a portion of our life. The big life, the universal life, the great mystery. So this earth walk, maybe we come back and walk on the earth some more. Maybe we need to go to another portion, like folks who live on a desert island, or an island. Maybe they're locked in by water, and they're beings. And their origins are of the oceans and things like that. And then maybe their next life is of a person who never sees the ocean, and they live in a large mountainous area or something, to get the experience of walking the earth in a different reality. Now you could say, well, isn't that the Matrix? Well, it depends on how you want to look at it. If you want to look at it as spokes on the wheel, as the Mandela of life, as natives do, not just Native Americans, but many native tribes. And in that, in order to understand what the wheel is, we have to experience each one of the spokes of that wheel. And so makes sense to me, but the Earth is just one wheel. This solar system is just one wheel. Oh my gosh, all the other wheels in this universe. I've been outside the last couple of nights with my telescope and high-powered binoculars, and I got a chance to look at Mars and Neptune. First time looking at Neptune this close and being able to see Mars and Neptune in the same field of vision, like really cool. And being able to see the stars in as clear as they are now. We've got clear weather, and there only a few chemtrails today. But however, early this morning I walked outside, and Orion was in a weird place, rather unexpected. The moon's going into a new moon phase, and I haven't been able to check it to find out where it's coming up. It's still pretty much in the same location, but I detected yesterday a wobble in the earth that kind of threw Orion to the southwest, which is not where Orion's supposed to go. And that was early on this morning. Now, the last 2 or 3 weeks I've been reporting on, did the ET fix the moon? Orion and Pleiades and everything has been in the right spot. But what I noticed is that the North Star seems to be in a different place. It's a little higher, not too much, just a little, but it's like it's more to the east, if that makes sense. From where I stand in my property, it's like it's too far to the right, which would make it's the point of where the constellations kind of rotate around and pivot. So that, if the North Star is truly the North Star, then all these planets rotate. And I've got this one particular program up right now, and it's called, wait, let me put my glasses on. Planetarium Interactive Star Map. It's very accurate. It's got a time map, and I'm sitting here looking at this thing right now. I flipped screens. I wish I could share it with you, but it's Planetarium Interactive, and it's a free download. And it's an app because it works on this Chromebook, so it should work on most phones. But to the point, though, I can tell where my location is on a map. I can give it the time of the year or the month or whatever, and it will show me. And it shows me I can move my mouse around and watch the constellation move. So I want to see what the sky looks like from the north. I just rotate it around, and I can see all the stars in the northern hemisphere, or in the northern quadrant of the constellations, that is. Anyway, but to the point, though, it's like I'm looking at this thing, and I take my little computer outside so I can look at the stars, and now, okay, that's that one. Now that's that one. Okie dokie. And it's like, but when I went back out earlier this morning, like at 5:00 a.m., it was like Orion was down in the southwest. And I just made a video saying, all the stars look in place to me. But then several hours later, it was like it's almost like something had wobbled again. So kind of curious, it's like, wait a minute, Orion's not supposed to go down over there. And last week, when I had a good clear shot of it, Orion didn't go down in the southwest. So is the planet back to wobbling again? Did something else happen to the moon? Is the magma underneath the planet still giving us a little bit of a wobble? Something happened last night from the time I made the video about here's an Earth update kind of thing. Watch out for the quakes. Oh my God, there went Orion sitting in the southwest. Curiosity. So I just want to say that I love you all. You enjoyed your totem cards this morning. Thank you, Melanie. I've had requests of trying to do some more of that, and I would like to. I don't know, and I don't have a plan, if you will, but Delaney Jackson, I'm missing her first name there, but anyway, I will offer this to anybody who wants to contact me on Google Hangouts, because that's the best format this thing will work. But if you want to have me practice on you with doing doing cards with these medicine cards, so I would be willing, with the understanding that it's been a while since I've done any card readings for anyone, but I'm willing to try. I'm open to the suggestion, but with the thing that here we go. Now, I used to be damn good at doing readings for folk, and I quit doing them because I realized that at some point the elementals, the nasty elementals, could mess with the cards. But I've looked over these cards and so forth, and it's a little difficult for them to mess with the way you do these cards. So could they still interfere? Maybe. But my spirit, and they're giving me an affirmation right now, as long as I keep my cards protected, and evil cannot move into the cards and make me want to shuffle them different. And as long as I have my own energy and my own little area here, and my own little, dome of, I was thinking of Get Smart and the dome of silence. But anyway, in my little dome of protection here, is that it would only be the other person, the communication with the other person, that there might be some kind of interference. But that me, myself, as long as I did what I know to do for the protection of doing a reading, even for myself, I might get, in doing a video conversation with someone, something might get skewed there. But that could happen when you're sitting next to somebody. So, but anyway, I my spirit saying, Hawkeye, you're trying to make excuses for not doing a reading. That may be true, but I want to remain skeptical because of all the negative energies that have been floating around. And they're telling me that, yeah, but a lot of them have been taken care of, and a lot of them are being taken care of. And that, well, that's interesting. They're telling me right this minute that my energy has changed, and that what it was 3 or 4 years ago is not the same. And well, that's very true. I'm listening. I have made so many inroads in my own life because one of the things that I had an issue with about going on 3 years ago now was just fear. And just fear of dying, fear of living, fear of just all kind of crap. I mean, fear, worry, worry, worry. Oh, was I neurotic? But as I came off of all those pharmaceuticals, I lost my neurosis. And I also, in more meditation and like, well, wait a minute, what the hell are you scared of? You damn near died twice already. Are you scared of dying? Well, no, they brought me back. Okay. I mean, so all these little conversations, and I've had these conversations with you folks because that's supposed to be part of my journey, is to explain it so I can hear it myself, but also share my life story for other people. But with that said, though, it's like, all right, I understand much more now than I did just 3 years ago. In fact, just a year ago, I've gotten more clarification of some things. So that because I have more control of my own self, my own energy, my own power, my own angel self, whatever, I'm much better than I was 2 years ago, 1 year ago, actually. And that it would be more safe now than any time in my life because of where I am spiritually, mentally, and so forth, that it would be okay for me to do readings. That's what they're telling me right now. So, but anyway, so I kind of look forward to it. So anyway, somebody want to, try it out or whatever, give me a holler. Um, my Hangout Google thing is DW Null 52. It's lowercase DW Null 52 at Gmail. Contact me, add me on the Google Hangouts, DW Null 52 at gmail.com. And it's lowercase DWNULL 52. Add me to your Hangouts. Get in touch with me. I'm available most of the time. Send me a note. I don't know if it's the middle of the night or the middle of the morning. I never know anymore as to when I'm going to be awake. So it's just like, okie dokie. But send me a message and we'll try to set up a time. And if you're willing, I would be willing to do a card reading for you just to see how things would turn out. These medicine cards are totally different than runes. Although I gotta say, there is something about the runes versus tarot. Tarot requires, in my opinion, more woo-woo spirituality because you got to interpret these. With runes, for example, the runes are either up or down. It's not like, well, and you can only do so many spreads with them. And it's like, okay. But reading with tarot cards, there's a lot more to it. Now, with these medicine cards, because of the animal totems that I am familiar with, I think this may be one of the purest forms of reading that I've come across so far. Now, having only done a reading on myself with these cards, but damn if they didn't come up I mean, for myself, I'm still like, oh my God, I can't believe that these cards came up in the order that they did. And so if you watch that video, it's like, well, you heard it first kind of thing. And I'm still kind of mulling them over, what's going on. But Anyway, with that said, I would be more than willing to try to do a reading for someone else. Um, I'd be curious on a lot of levels, but they're not the same as tarot. They're more. As I'm trying to explain this to, they these animal cards seem more akin to a rune reading than a tarot reading because they're contrary sides. Well, tarot has contrary sides, meaning upside or downside, upside down or not. But anyway, I just think that these cards, as far as how they're laid out and what you would do to do the reading, it's different because I've started with tarot many years ago, and I've got many different rune stones and so forth, and I would trust the runes more than I would trust tarot because of the magic involved, if you will, and the way that you can interpret things and the death card and this. These medicine cards with the totems, it's more like, and there's 43, 44 of them, so a lot of them, almost a full deck, if you will. But that it's going to be more of this is the animal and this is the interpretation. And the upside down of this just means that it's the contrary side of this. But in reading through the book and everything in the last day or so, is there's not like, ooh, there's death and killing and dying, but there is spiritual, pay attention stuff. Um, I'm trying to explain this, and I'm maybe I don't know if I'm doing a very good job. Um, I had to get away from tarot because I hate to say it, but they're and maybe there is sort of some kind of like an evilness that could be attached to them, and there's nothing in these cards that could even come close to being evil, like a death card or something. There's nothing in these cards that could represent that. So it's like, okay, so what are you going to take over? You're going to take over whether you received a message from Otter or from Dragonfly versus death or a king or a something or the new, you know what I'm saying? So it's same thing, and that's why I'm saying these are more akin to what a rune reading would be because it's either up or it's down. It stands for what it stands for, and you can put them together and say, okay, you've got this, and then the second one, and then the third rune, and between the three of them, this is what it could mean for you. Well, I see this as being a rune reading type of card system versus tarot. That's good. Thank you, Melanie. I hope that makes sense. But anyway, so with that said, I'm gonna. I had no idea I was. Oh my God, how long have I been doing this? Oh my God, over an hour. This was going to be a short one. Then you guys come on and I start having conversations, and then the downloads come in to try to pass on some more information. So, but anyway, let me go get out of here. I want to do some more reading and a little more meditation. I also I'm going to go outside and do my Star Watch right now. So I might come back on later on earlier this morning. It's 2:05 now. Eastern Standard Time here in South Georgia. So I'm going to go out and do a star check and see where everything is in the sky. I won't see the moon now because we're going into a new moon phase, and so it was a happy time. Thank you, Melanie. Thank you much. And so, but anyway, I'm going to try to come back on and do a little bit of Earth Wobble update just to see how the stars are doing. So, with blessings, I say as I usually do, and I really do mean it. Cosmic hugs to everybody. I pray that every one of you will accept and receive the healings, the knowledge, and the wonderful, wonderful cosmic goo that we're all attached to in this great mystery of life on this planet. I hope and pray that you, your friends, your neighbors, your brothers, sisters, your relatives, and all of your relations, and they will accept and learn to accept these healings from the universe. So let's all stay in touch. And thank you, Melanie, Quartz, as always. And uh, and Patrick as well. So if you're of a mind to, dwnull52@gmail.com. Add me to your to the Google Hangouts thing. And if you want to do a reading, we'll do one. I prefer to do it one-on-one personally. And then if you wanted to do one like on a live stream, that'd be okay too. But I want to try this out first before I go like public with this, you know. And but anyway, so love to you all and cosmic hugs, and stay warm, stay happy, and always continue to be compassionate. Talk to you later, folks. Adios for now.